Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the library board meeting. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday, November 9th, 2023. We're in the City Hall Council chambers, and we have an agenda in front of us, and we need to approve that agenda. So I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion about the agenda? I know we've got 2 minutes, 2 minutes to approve, so that's kind of a little interesting, but we'll talk about that. All right, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have an agenda. All right, now, for our regular viewers, you know that in our October meeting, there was quite a discussion about the minutes from the September 14th meeting, because it was really a little unclear about what the city manager, Chris Dalton, had told us about the odds of the George's sign being the library board being asked to accept the George's ballroom sign on our property. And so our ACE library director has clarified that.
I reviewed the recording to clarify that, and so on page 3 of the packet in the updated September minutes, it just states that there's a 70% chance that the sign would be incorporated into the developer's new building, and a 30% chance they would look at a second site like the library.
So the way I read that is that it's more likely than not that the person who's developing the George's Ballroom site is going to want to incorporate that sign on their property, although there still is a chance that that won't happen. So, does anybody else have a different understanding or want to make a comment about that?
While we're on that topic, I'll just note that I did ask the city manager if he had any updates from the State Historic Preservation Office on their application, and he had, yeah. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions of the library director? All right, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the September 14th, 2023 board meeting with those clarifications inserted.
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, now on to the minutes from the October meeting. Anything we need to look over or ask for clarifications in those minutes?
Carl did note it. Actually, that was in the September minutes, wasn't it, Carl? I'm sorry.
I believe
There was just a small note that the anticipated site for the September Eclipse program was listed as Highland Park off of 5th Avenue North, when it would have been 5th Street North.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Very good.
We've already voted on that.
Thank you. I don't think history will record that as a
especially since
major
that didn't even
error.
happen at the park anyway.
somebody goes to look for the site and can't find Fifth
Right.
Avenue.
True, Google Maps. Thank you, April. Can I have a motion to approve the October minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Let's go on to the financial report.
All right, so we are 84.12% through 2023, and our budget is approximately 80.73% expended. Bills that we paid during October included $471 to Classen Mechanical for air filters. That's a normal expense for us. $506 to Metro Sales for our quarterly copier lease and service contracts. $225 to Runnings for a hedge trimmer and copies of keys. For a couple doors in the building, $400 to the Traverse de Sioux Library Cooperative for our annual Wildberry subscription, which was covered by a Friends of the Library donation that they had made previously. $162 to Minitex for barcodes for the barcodes we put on books. And $1,125 to the Minnesota Elevator for 2 repair calls that we made. Those repair calls were made during the carpet replacement process. And I reached out to Hiller Commercial Floors, the vendor who did the carpet, and they adjusted our invoice to cover the cost of those elevator repairs, so that
Oh,
was
thank
really-
you, good for you.
They're a really great vendor to work with. We've worked with them, I think, at least on 3 of the 5 years we did carpet replacements, so. So that took our invoice from $41,525 to $40,399, and that original invoice was on track with what they had quoted us for that project. And then although the travel, conferences, and schools line appears overspent, the library will receive, actually we received that check today, and the total came in at $1,649.47 in honorariums from TDS to offset the cost of some of our conference attendance. And we had also received a $1,500 travel grant from the Minnesota Department of Education, so I could attend the Research Institute for Public Libraries in July. So that line appears very overspent, but those grants were coded to another line when they were receipted. Our computer supplies and equipment line also appears overspent due to an October purchase of 5 public laptops, totaling $4,250. The cost of those laptops is covered by the Public Library Association's $6,000 digital literacy grant, and the board had accepted that grant in July. We just spent not quite $200 on some Microsoft Office licenses for those computers. There may be some other minor expenses to get those laptops up and running. But I'm not expecting to overspend the $6,000 grant. And then our printing, advertising, and promo line is overspent due to ads we placed for open positions, but the board did budget an increase for that line from $500 to $1,000 for 2024.
Anyone have any comments or questions?
I got a couple questions. So I see we got a hedge trimmer. So what exactly does the library own in terms of power tools that the city doesn't own?
That the city doesn't own?
Like, I mean, mowing the lawn and stuff, who takes care of that?
We have a maintenance technician who splits his time between the library, the fire department, and the airport. And so he has a push lawnmower at the library.
But that's not, library doesn't own that, or does it?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
We have a snow blower that's the
Okay.
library's. He has some drills and things like that are the library's.
And you got a hedge trimmer, it looks like here.
Yeah, the hedge trimmer, because he trimmed down all of the bushes around the library for the winter to make sure that
Okay.
they were.
And then like a blower or something like that too, or?
Yeah, he has a leaf blower as well.
And this stuff's all stored, what, in a shed or something, or?
In the library garage, or there's also a maintenance room down in the army.
Interesting, I just didn't know we had all that stuff.
Yeah.
I figured the city took care of it, but. Okay, and then the second question is, you indicated a number of cases where line items will appear to be overspent, and then we're getting some reimbursements. So do the reimbursements go back into those line items so that they offset it in future months, or do they come in under different line items so you really can't match them?
They come in under different line items. They can't be coded to the expense line. The receipts can't. So they come in under, there's like a couple different grant lines that were, depending on if it's within the state grant or an out-of-state grant, where those get coded.
Okay, so really we would only see it on the bottom line then when we look at expenses versus income.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else have any other questions or comments? I wanted to comment that I see that some of the open positions are also being advertised on Facebook. And I'm wondering if there's any way to track whether you get an application because it was advertised on Facebook or because it was advertised someplace else, or is it just somebody, do you ask an applicant, how did you hear about us, or is there any way to track that?
I'm not sure if that's asked directly on the application. I can't remember if I've seen that as a question on there, but I can ask the city's HR director and clarify that with her.
Well, it just might be kind of interesting as to, since it is expensive to advertise, what's the most effective way to seek the good employees that we always seem to get. So, thank you. Anything else? All right, back on to the October Library Department Activities Report.
So I did, last month we talked about Vox books, and so these are the new Vox books that we have, so I brought a sample in. So each of the Vox books has one of these readers attached to it inside the front cover here, and then there's a sticker in here that shows how the different functions of the book work. That's all done by the Vox company, it's not something we have to do. And then there's an on-off switch over here, so you just slide that on, and then you can hit the play button.
Vox Books are books that talk. Vox Publishing presents Frank and Bean by Jamie McCallick. As you listen to this book, you will hear this sound.
Oh my goodness.
When it's time to turn the page,
So it's as simple as that, and then there's pause buttons, they can control the volume over here, they can turn a page early if they want to. But that's what a Vox book looks like.
Oh, fun.
And these are very popular. As soon as they come in and we put them out on the shelf, they're gone again, so.
Oh, I'm sure.
The charging port on there, right, you said they're rechargeable batteries?
So on the side of that
Oh, I see.
mechanism, there's a
Yeah.
spot to charge it, and there's also a spot to plug in headphones if you prefer to listen that way.
Just to comment on that, so our kids have grabbed a couple of those off of it and really enjoy it, so they, just a note on it, that they really enjoy having those. It's just a nice thing that parents don't have to read to them all the time, that they can have them and just use it on their own, so.
As a little bit of independence for kids who aren't quite there with a full story yet.
Wonderful. Thank you for bringing that in.
And then our full-time library staff attended an Evergreen Reports training session on October 17th. That was led by Seth Erickson, who is the Director of IT Systems for TDS. He came to the New Ulm Public Library, and several of our other Brown County librarians attended as well. And so the intention of that training was to get us familiar with the reports module of our integrated library system, so that we can pull reports about circulation, numbers of patron registration, and other data that will be helpful for us for making decisions about our collections and our services. Library staff attended fire extinguisher training at the Civic Center on October 24th and 26th. We required that training for all of our staff, and we all got a chance to try out a fire extinguisher too, which is, I think, demystifies it a little bit if you've never had to use one. And then I and Leroy Harris, our Programming and Technology Services librarian, attended the Minnesota Library Association Conference in St. Paul on October 4th and 5th. We attended sessions on a variety of topics, and I got to meet with several vendors I'd only ever talked to on the phone, so that was nice to put a face to the name. And then Leroy also gave a presentation on our Pathfinder programs and use of technology at the library, so it was great that he was able to do that as well.
It's nice. Nice.
And then just a note that the Brown County Library Board will be meeting on Monday, November 13th at 7 p.m. in Hanska, at the Hanska Library. And Lynn, Ruth Ann, Dustin, and Sarah all have board terms expiring this year, and they're all eligible for another term, and all four have agreed to continue, that they're willing to continue on. So that is, I sent that information to the mayor, and that approval is on the first council meeting agenda for January.
So we need to start lobbying the mayor right now. Right now.
I'm sure they're all lined up to take your place.
Well, this is a fun board. We get to learn stuff, though. This is a great board. So, thank you, April.
So I have a question on the fire extinguishers. I've never really noticed. How many does the library have?
Oh, I went through and made a list of them and the locations. It's upward of 20.
Wow.
Might be more than that, because there's, several on each floor, because we're kind of have a lot of different levels in the
Must be
library.
hiding in plain sight, cause I've never really, next time I go into the library, I'll take a look.
That's another thing our maintenance technician does for us, is keeps all those, in good standing, make sure they're working, works with the vendors that we use for that too. So,
And then, so if a fire breaks out though, I suppose anybody could utilize a fire extinguisher if they know how?
yes,
Cause they're accessible to everybody, right?
yes, they're, in the typical cases you would see where you can either open it or break it to get in.
Right.
And some aren't even in a case, they're just,
Hanging on
posted.
the
on the
bracket,
wall.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And you got some press in the Journal about that training.
Oh,
Is
did
that
we?
right? I think, or did I see it on Facebook?
We put it on Facebook.
Oh, I saw it on
I
Facebook.
don't remember seeing it in the journal, but.
Everybody looked fat, wonderful. Putting out putting out fires, that's what we do. Great, 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 great. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? And thank everybody for, including myself, for saying you'll sign up again for the
Yes,
for the
thank
board.
you.
So, okay, let's move on to programming for November.
So just to note, we are closed November 10th and 11th, so tomorrow and Saturday for Veterans Day. And then for Thanksgiving, we close on 5 p.m. on Wednesday, November 22nd, and we're closed both Thursday and Friday, November 23rd through 24th. But we will be open our normal hours the Saturday following Thanksgiving, which is the 25th, from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are introducing a new anime club for teens on Tuesday, November 14th at 4 p.m. So they'll be able to watch age-appropriate anime, eat snacks, and talk about anime and manga. And the program is for teens in 6th through 12th grade. This program is taking the place of our Teen Tuesdays program due to consistent low attendance for that one. So we're just going to try something
else.
new.
And just for anybody out there listening who doesn't know what anime is, can you give us a 25-word description? Anime?
I'm probably not the best person to give the description, but it's a form that originates from Japan. Thank you.
Right.
And it's picture based, somewhat like comic books, but there's a very specific art style for it that the artists use, and it's really popular. And there are anime shows and fandoms, and just it's grown and grown.
I've watched a few of those, and what I remember is that that there was a bus that was a cat. You know, the bus was a cat and was coming down the street like a cat, and then slunk down, and then the door opened up in the cat, and then the kids got on the bus. It's really very, very imaginative, very colorful, very interesting anime. Yeah.
You are hip.
Oh, I am hip. And now you are too. There you go.
The New Elm Film Society will begin its new series featuring courtroom dramas. So that series starts on Tuesday, November 14th at 6:30 p.m. The first movie is 12 Angry Men. And then our sensory playtime for November is scheduled for Thursday, November 16th at 10 a.m. or Tuesday, November 21st at 6 p.m. Just a reminder that registration is required for that program.
Good. Any other questions, comments? Move on to staffing.
Right. So our youth services aide position remains open. We did interview one candidate, but the schedule was just not a match at all for either of us. So after that, we spoke with the HR director, and she recommended leaving the position continuously open and just interviewing as candidates apply. So we have received a few applications, but not all, they didn't meet the requirements of the position. So we'll continue to review applications as they come in. And then our library aide, Heidi Schuff, gave her resignation. Her last day is Friday, November 17th, and that position was posted yesterday.
Okay. Any questions, comments about staffing or advertising or qualifications or anything like that? Okay. Strategic Plan Committee update.
So the committee met this past Monday, November 6th. And as shown in the packet, we worked on refining the wording of our goals and objectives, so the changes are noted there. Library staff are working on the action plan. So the timeline at this point that we're proposing is that the committee will approve a rough draft of the full plan and recommend any changes needed at its next meeting on December 4th at 2 p.m. And then we'll present, as long as the committee's ready for it, we'll present a draft of the full plan, the objectives, goals, and our activities for each of those at the December 14th meeting. And then we'll give the library board a month to review the plan, make any recommendations, and then the goal would be to approve the plan at your January 11th meeting.
And so I think, I don't know if anybody's taken the time to really sort of dig through that, but definitely in December, we're gonna be wanting to look at that, and especially the activities. You know, 'cause that's where sort of the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
You know, the goals and objectives are kind of, they're kind of a little bit in the clouds, you know, a little, not vague exactly, but aspirational. Whereas when you get down to the activities, things that we're expecting the library staff to do and accomplish, that's something that we really should be ready to talk about in the dead of winter, December meeting, on the darkest day. So, does anybody have any comments about what you have in front of you right now, or you want to wait till next month, or?
Changes look good.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. Thank
Happy
you.
to
That's
see
nice of
those.
you to say.
The changes are good.
Yeah.
Good.
I asked that very question of Hippo the other day about the goals. The second goal was its first objective, that it was, as you described, vague, to me, and aspirational. So I'm looking forward to the activities that are going to be associated with that particular item. But I thought they all looked quite good.
Good. Well, it's been a fun committee. We do a lot of laughing, but I think we've got some work done to it. All right. Well, we'll pick that up in December, and if none, with no objection, we'll move on to our action item. Resolution number 2023-21 to accept Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund grant for a program. At the October 19th, 2023 meeting, the Traverse des Sioux Regional Library Board awarded New Ulm Public Library with an Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund Legacy Grant in the amount of $2,500 for 5 performances by the Armstrong Boulevard Brass Quintet. One at each Brown County Library during November 2023 through January of 2024. The quintet will perform at New Ulm Public Library on Thursday, December 21st at 7 p.m. And they're fabulous. You know, they're just fabulous. Well, I like brass quintets. So this is wonderful. Any questions about this? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to accept the grant.
I'll move.
I gotta move it, but I got a second. All right,
Yeah.
I can do two at the same time.
Between
All right,
Carl and
all
I.
right. And then Manon. All right, motion second. Any other discussion?
I just want to note that we've been, Catherine and Leroy write the bulk of these Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund grants, and they do a great job of, you know, reaching out to performers, and then also including the other Brown County libraries who often have fewer staff than we do, less time to write these grants, and they have expressed their appreciation for being included in some of these things. And then performers often appreciate a chance to have more performances lined up in one go too, so it's a great way to partner. And those other libraries have also taken the lead on grants too that we've been included.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. Wonderful. Good. I have a motion and a second. We'll call the roll.
Dustin, yes. Vince,
Yes.
Ruth Ann,
Yes.
Yvonne,
Yes.
Manon,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Right. Passed, resolution passed. Any other business to come before this board? Hearing none? Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.